Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Effortless. I'm Dr. Spiegel. He's Dr. Piddle.
Good morning, everybody.
And I went to Taco Bell yesterday. And now I've been doing this for a while, actually, because I work right next to a Taco Bell. And I don't know why I waited so long to bring this up, but they got rid of the delicious Sangrita Blast Freeze, and I'm very upset about this.
How could they do this?
It's the best thing they've ever had, and now it's just gone. And it's been gone for a while. It's been gone for probably 2 or 3 months, actually.
Oh, we were talking
But
about this earlier. I thought you were mentioning they got rid of Sangrita Blast, just period. No,
oh no, no, no,
that's right.
they
They got
still
rid
have.
of the freeze.
Yeah, they still have the soda, the Mountain Dew, like
Yeah,
Sangrita Blast, whatever. I don't really even know what is Sangrita. I don't know what that is.
it's a made-up word, I think. I think it's supposed to be like a spin on sangria.
You know, all words are made up. I
It's
think at some point.
it's Taco Bell, so pretty much everything is made up there.
But they do have this great new thing that's absurdly expensive, but it's also extremely like tasty. It's called the Boss Wrap. Have you had this thing?
The
The Boss
boss
Wrap?
wrap?
Yeah. Have you
No.
seen a commercial for it?
Nope.
Okay, so this Boss Wrap, right? It's this like tortilla wrap thing that has like a taco shell inside of it for crunch, and then it has steak, uh, like a 3 cheese blend, chipotle sauce, and sour cream,
Oh
and
my
and
goodness.
potatoes and bacon.
Oh my
And
goodness.
it's the greatest thing that has ever been created, but it's $5.
That sounds absolutely delicious and like something
It's
I
$5
need
though.
to have in my life
It's really
every
expensive,
day.
so I'll like treat myself to it once in a while, but like you can't live like that, man. That's for rich people. That's why they call it the boss wrap, because only people who make a boss's salary can afford to eat it, I guess. I don't know. But
Yeah,
but
probably.
the thing is delicious, and I love it, and I want one right now. I talked myself into getting one later. So happy Friday, everybody! Go get yourself a boss wrap.
So, speaking of absolutely delicious fast foods, I have to ask you, is there a limited time only fast food item that you found just so good and you wish it would come back, but you don't think it's ever going to come back?
Man, you're really putting me on the spot, but I actually always have an answer ready for this, and it's another Taco Bell thing actually.
Always ready.
It's
Always ready. Just
I'm
in
always
case
ready with the
somebody
fast food.
asks.
That's right. It's the chicken flatbread sandwich, and they had this at Taco Bell for like, probably about
Ooh.
4 to 5 months. Did you ever have this thing?
I did not, but I'm assuming that the flatbread is similar to they used to have like a grande, like a gigantic quesadilla that you could get.
You know, they still have the flatbread there because they use it in their cheesy gordita crunches. And I don't know about the grande quesadilla or whatever, but flatbread, man, is like the number one bread. Like there's no better bread.
Yes, this Taco
I,
Bell
I
flatbread is so good.
and it was so like it had like this like flour was falling off of this flatbread. It was just so amazing. You'd pick it up and your hands would be all floury, and you're like, I feel like I'm eating real Mexican food. And it had chipotle sauce, and it had chicken in it, and cheese, and it was $1, and it was amazing. And they have something kind of like it now. It's called the shredded chicken mini quesadilla, but it's a tortilla instead of the flatbread, so it's just ruined because the flatbread was the best part.
You should ask if you can substitute for the flatbread instead of a tortilla.
No, every Taco Bell I go to, I try, and everyone's like, "No, we don't do that."
Oh
So
man,
yeah.
that's infuriating.
So what about you? What's your favorite like limited time item?
Originally I thought I was going to say that like grande quesadilla that they use with the flatbread, but now that I think about it, it is actually from a different restaurant, and that is Burger King. And Burger King had the Angry Whopper for a while, and it was so good. And I just like I specifically went out of my way to go to Burger King just to get it. It was that good. It had like onion rings on it, I think, and it
Wow.
had jalapenos, and it had like this just absolutely delicious like spicy sauce that they put on. Great, great thing, and it's gone.
One thing that was limited for a long time, if you remember, and you probably do because you're older than me, was popcorn chicken at KFC. Like that would only come around once every like once a year, basically. And
Yeah.
it would go away. Now they have it all the time because they realize it's a huge seller. But popcorn chicken was the best. And when it was limited, I would go in and I would get it. But now that it's there all the time, I don't ever feel like I need to go back to KFC. So it's difficult.
It's backfired on them. They're not pulling you back in.
Although now I want KFC, so I feel like just the product existing makes me want to go get the food. So maybe it didn't backfire.
KFC's bowls are so good.
Me too. Everyone always dumps on those bowls and just like, oh, those suck. They're stupid and they taste bad. They're delicious, dude. They have like all my favorite foods in it.
Yeah, they are just
like
absolutely delicious.
Chicken
Mashed potatoes,
and potatoes,
like pretty much gravy. I'm just whatever it is. There's like two things I think make anything better. One is cheese. Put cheese on anything, it makes it better. I mean, I would have cheese with Oreos, honestly. And
God, that's disgusting. Cheesy Oreo center.
And then the other is gravy. I think gravy would make anything good. So you know what?
I would have a gravy Oreo.
Just somebody serve me up some cheesy gravy Oreos, and I think I'm set for the rest of my life.
We've had a lot of good moments on the show, but I think the cheesy gravy Oreo might be the best. So thanks for listening, everybody. This was Effortless, and we will see you next time. But now we have actually like real stuff we have to talk about. Unfortunately, I wish we could keep talking about this.
We'd rather talk about food.
Real quick, I want to know what your favorite item is that was a limited time at a fast food place. All you listeners out there, you post those comments, and I know that was really captivating stuff. So I hope you enjoyed it.
It was, and remember how we talked about great deals for food?
Yeah.
$4, 4 for $4 at Wendy's.
So Wendy's. Okay, I guess we're not going to talk about real stuff for a minute, but Wendy's has this deal right now. I think it's still going on where you can get 4 chicken nuggets, junior bacon cheeseburger, French fries, and a drink or a Frosty for $4. Are you freaking kidding me? That's like 1,500 calories. That's great. I eat it for every meal. It's amazing that we don't both weigh like 300 pounds.
It is.
Although I'm getting there.
Hooray, genetics.
I'm getting there. So, now we're going to talk about real stuff. Last week we teased you.
Yeah, real stuff like Real Racing 3.
Oh, wow. And a real game on a real mobile device. Just kidding. So, we teased this. It is Piddle's quest for mobile glory as you attempt to find a mobile game that is worth playing or something, right?
Yes, worth playing for all you jaded gamers out there who can't stand the shallow, very, what would I call it? They're more like diversions that mobile gaming has to offer. They're not really like full-fledged games. They're just diversions for when you have nothing better to do. I just go on YouTube or something when I have nothing to do and I have my mobile phone, but I guess a lot of people like to play shallow, not what I would consider games. But Real Racing 3 is my first attempt. I'm going to try to play like a free mobile game.
Now, to be clear, are you trying to find good games or are you just like playing random games?
I'm going to try to find a good game that actually holds my interest for a long period of time.
Okay.
And something that I would give like more than like a 3 out of 5. I think I played Monument Valley earlier this year. And if I recall correctly, I only gave it like a 3 or a 3.5 out of 5. Like that's like the best that people are saying like the mobile gaming community has to offer is games like Monument Valley. And I mean it just didn't do much for me because it's just cute, but it was just way too simple. And like most mobile games, it was like a puzzle game. That tends to be the theme with mobile games is that the big ones are all puzzle games. So here's my attempt to find a really, really fun, enjoyable game that I just can't put down. And I'm only going to spend maybe 15 minutes a week trying to find a game. And I'm going to keep going through all the free games that are out there to offer. Because I feel like, 15 minutes, if it's starting to catch me, I'll continue to play after 15 minutes. And then who knows, it might even turn into a full review. But for now, I'm just going to sort of dabble here and there with different games. This week I played Real Racing 3, which is from Electronic Arts. It's a racing game. I mean, it's like you might be able to describe it as sort of like a Gran Turismo, just not quite as in depth with the controls and the simulation. But the game has a lot to offer. I'm going to say that right now. It has a ton to offer. And there's a reason for that, as we'll get to. But what I will say is the controls are really enjoyable. Using the tilt controls to sort of like cut and like get around your corners at like the perfect apex, and the acceleration and everything. There's some options to have like a little bit of a assisting going on with like your traction control and your braking, and I just kept those on. I tried it without those assists for a little bit, but I kept them on for the most part. So most of the time the game is doing all the accelerating, the braking, and all that for you. So it does take away a lot of control, but it's still just enjoyable to sort of like get every turn at the best angle that you possibly can. I played it for probably probably for like an hour, trying to get like an idea of what it was like. I might have even played for more than an hour because that base like driving part was pretty enjoyable. What wasn't enjoyable is that very quickly you sort of can't progress unless you're winning races. And oh, hey, you're going to find out that you need a specific car to complete this race to unlock more races to do. But the only way that you can get into those further races, or like the only way you can win that race, is because you're racing against other people and their cars. Like theoretically, there's like sort of I think it's sort of like the Drivatar system from what's that called? Drive Club.
Yeah.
Or where it like sort of like simulates other people's times and everything in their cars and how they did and how they did. But every car itself is upgradable. And
how do you get these upgrades?
Yes, in order to get those upgrades, you need to race, and you need to just complete more races. And like if you win the race, you get more of these, more currency. There's currency, and then there's like gold. And like the gold helps you instantly sort of obtain things, and the currency helps you like buy something. But there's like whenever you do an upgrade, there's always like a little cooldown. You know how it is.
Can I just say this?
Yeah.
I am completely exhausted listening to your explanation of how this game works. It sounds way too complicated for what it's trying to be.
That's really what killed it for me is that like I had to unlock specific cars just to progress, and I had already spent all the money I had earned on upgrading my current car just so I could win the current races, and now I can't do the new races because I don't have that car. And so here's my option. My option is either to race the same races over and over and over again for that currency, or to spend money.
And that's a mobile game. The end.
And yeah, that's a mobile game. It's just it. And it's sort of a shame because like what was there was sort of fun. I mean, I would almost be willing to spend like $20 on the game if it meant like I could just play the whole game without any of the stupid microtransactions. I don't know. We'll see. I'll tease what I'm gonna do next week, and that is Jetpack Joyride, and it's made by Half Brick Games, and I believe Half Brick Games has made some other more popular, like, bite-sized games. I think they might have played, like... Or I think they made a zombie game. Can't remember. I know they made other stuff that has been well-received. So, I'm going to try...
All right, Dan, if you're listening, your favorite game ever, Jetpack Joyride, Piddle's going to rip into it next week, so you better check out next week's show.
So I downloaded it. I'm gonna play it here and there, and I'll let you know next week what I think of it.
Okay. So let's move on. I don't have a segue, so forget it. This is Effortless. That's my segue. We're going to talk about... we introduced this feature back in late September, and we were talking about the broken games of Holiday 2015. And an interesting thing happened. Even after like months of speculation that this holiday season was going to be littered with games that just didn't work at launch, hasn't really happened, which is good, I guess. I mean, obviously it's good. But I feel like what we've gotten in its place are just incomplete games with very little content. I mean, look at Black Ops, look at Battlefront, look at Rainbow Six. These three games had like nothing at launch. And you had to buy $50 season pass, or in the case of Rainbow Six, a $30 season pass, just to get additional content that probably could have been in the original game.
Isn't this ridiculous? I feel like they're selling full priced demos now with the, hey, like buy the whole game and you get everything. And the whole game is a season pass.
It's freaking mobile gaming on a console. It's disgusting. I hate it.
Except now you're buying
It's not
the
a
base game.
microtransaction. It's a mega transaction.
Or you're buying the demo now.
I mean, like I said, we complain about season passes every single week, but until it stops happening, I'm not going to stop complaining. I hate season passes. I hate it. Hey, you want to invest in this thing that you don't know what's going to be in it, and you want to like not allow the whole game to be released at launch because you continue to buy this stuff, you stupid idiots. Ugh, man.
Part of the issue is just like the people who are really rich and lazy are sort of ruining gaming. But then there's just the masses too who are continuing to support this stuff that are ruining it even further because
they're just buying into it hook, line, and sinker.
We keep sending the message that this is okay. And like we knew this all the way back with like the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox age when they started to release the limited edition games for $60 instead of $50. And the whole purpose of those like limited editions was to see, hey, are people willing to pay $60 for a game yet? Oh, yeah, they are. Okay, well, we're just going to make every game $60. But you know what? People still love their limited editions, so now we can throw more limited editions out there, add some
for
cheap
$70.
objects, and people are going to spend more for it. And, give more content if you spend more money. So it's been going this way for a while, and for the most part, we have nobody to blame except ourselves.
Well, get ourselves out of the picture there because I don't buy special editions. I canceled my special edition Xenoblade Chronicles when I realized, hey, this is just a cash grab just like every other thing. There's nothing in here that's really worth owning. Like Xenoblade Chronicles X is a really great game, and we'll talk about that later. But I look at that special edition, I'm not spending $90 for that. It's ridiculous. It had some art cards?
Yeah.
And a USB drive that looks like a rock. I don't even know what that thing is, but $90, I don't think so. I canceled mine. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Anyway, so back to the thing we were originally going to talk about, which is broken games.
Yes.
Actual broken games.
Yeah, you said there haven't been that many, and that's
really
not
haven't.
true. There was one, and we just sort of gave it a pass. And what did we decide?
Well, because okay, so we've been talking about Bethesda as this developer that just kind of gets a pass as someone who releases, or some developer that releases games that just aren't really polished. And Fallout 4 is kind of a slop fest. And it's like a broken down mess under the hood, really. So, I mean, while it may be a great game, like gameplay wise or whatever, it's really just, I don't know why we gave this game a pass when it first came out, because it's essentially broken with all the glitches that it has.
Yeah, just like New Vegas before it.
And most Bethesda games, honestly, that are just riddled with glitches. And people want to give them a pass because they're so big, and for the most part, they're so good. Bethesda makes good games. But
I'll remember, like, one of the worst glitches I came across with a Bethesda game was with Skyrim. There was one quest where a guy is supposed to open a door for you, but because his audio file was corrupted or glitched or something like that, or just not even existing in the game files, it just like glitched up and he would not open this door, so I couldn't talk to him. And I eventually found a fix for it. It took a long time for me to find a fix. Like, for a while, I was just like, you know what, screw this, I'm going to go play the rest of the game. And so I didn't have a problem enjoying the rest of the game. But this one part of the game, I couldn't do because it was broken. And I mean, that happens a lot with Bethesda games. There are a lot of instances where people get stuck on quests because of a glitch of some sort.
Yeah, and why does everybody give Bethesda a pass? Like, why are they this special snowflake that just gets this special treatment? Like, shouldn't they be treated the same as every other developer? Yeah, they make great games. You know who else makes great games? Nintendo, and they don't get a pass for anything anymore.
And they don't usually release completely broken games either.
That's also true.
And you know what? I think this is also, you know what? We can't even go there. I'm just going to forget it. Losing my voice.
We're wasting
losing my voice. I'm so upset over this.
Yeah, let's move on. But so Fallout 4, I guess, counts. But then a game came out that, oh, hey, Dan, if you're listening, you're going to be mad again. But I'm going to rip Just Cause 3 right now for being a broken down mess that just doesn't even like work right. It's probably
Yes.
it's on the same level as Assassin's Creed Unity in terms of the glitchiness and just like the reviews for console came in late after the game had released because they didn't want people to know that the game didn't work.
Yep.
So
And
classic.
it doesn't work in the worst way possible. And that is that as soon as things start to blow up, the frame rate tanks. And
That's when the game is supposed to look amazing. That's the whole point of Just Cause.
yeah, the whole point of Just Cause 3 is to like, swing around with your grapple and parachute and your
Wingsuit.
wingsuit and blow stuff up. And Just Cause 3, it's just like, well, whenever you blow stuff up, the frame rate's just going to tank, so just don't blow stuff up. Like that's horrible. I mean, that's like
Yeah.
where the fun of the gameplay lies, and the frame rate's going to be really bad when that occurs.
Well, I think next year we need to change the name of this feature to Bad Games of Holiday Blank because there were a lot of bad games. There weren't a lot of broken games. They were bad for various reasons. Like Mario Tennis was bad because it had no content. Rainbow Six Siege was bad because it had no content. And stuff like that. So,
Maybe we're just too
Amiibo
mean.
Festival was bad because it was a terrible idea. The end. There, I've now ripped basically every game that's come out this holiday. So, yay me.
Maybe
Games
we're just too
suck
harsh,
today.
Spiegel.
No, I'm not. I need to be harsher. I'm gonna be harsher next year.
All those Nintendo 64 games are broken because of their slow, horrible frame rates.
So let's move on. We got to do our 52 games in 52 weeks. We are now entering, or we are now in week number 35, going into week 36. You are still right on pace. I have jumped way ahead because I beat a lot of games this week.
Ah, you suck.
Yeah, sorry.
I see, like, it's hard because I want to play these bigger games, but the shorter games are sort of what get you ahead.
Yeah, that's exactly
And-
what I've done in preparation for Xenoblade Chronicles X, which I fully anticipate I'm going to be spending all of December on.
And Super Mario Brothers 2 and 3, and well, I've actually played 1, 2, and 3 now, so and 64. So I almost feel like I should just continue to play through the Mario series, except I only get 13 replays, so I don't know if I should do that.
Okay, but anyway, so what was the game that do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay,
I'll be greedy.
that's fine. Because I'm actually not going to talk about the games that I beat. I'm not going to talk about them at all. You'll see.
They're not
why.
worth talking about.
No, that's not. Well, I mean that's partially why, but
So the game that I beat this week was Rise of the Tomb Raider for the Xbox One. So
an Xbox One game. Wow.
yeah, pretty recent game, right? And I mostly got it because there was a fantastic deal at Target to get it for $40, only a month after release, which within a month, it's $20 off. And actually, get this week, you may have missed it, but Newegg.com was selling it for $35. Like, what? That just makes me
what
sad.
For what it's worth, Star Wars Battlefront is like $20 off right now at some retailers. So
Yeah, I saw that. But $35, like a month and like a couple of weeks after release, 5 weeks after release, that's insane. That like, there's no reason if you're buying games at full price these days. Like, what are you doing?
yeah,
Stop.
just wait
stop.
wait a week.
Yes, wait 1 month. It's not even that long. I mean, I know you need to have it day one, but wait a month. It's not that long. And if you can't do that, then go to Best Buy and get a gift card or Gamers Rewards Ultimate. I don't know what it's called, but they have some rewards program where it's like 20 or 25% off of games, something ridiculous like that.
Yeah,
and then
that's
if
great.
you pre-order, you get like a gift card too. So if you need to have it day one, like go there. Otherwise, just wait a month because it's going to be $20 off, or maybe even 25.
Moving on.
Yeah,
What did
moving
you, what
on.
we-
Sorry.
What were we talking about?
What were we talking about?
Rise of the Tomb Raider. I think
Yeah.
you played it.
So, I mean, I just played the first Tomb Raider reboot, and I mean, I really wanted to play Rise of the Tomb Raider because I wanted to see that they polished everything up that was sort of wrong with the first Tomb Raider and really made it from like a great game into like almost a perfect game. And they did clean some things up, but it's still just, I don't know what it is. It just still lacks a little something. And
It lacks magic. It doesn't have magic.
What I'll say is it has fantastic set pieces. Like, there are parts of the game that are just really, really cool. And there's like, explosions or like beautiful vistas. I think that honestly, Rise of the Tomb Raider has surpassed the Uncharted series in some ways.
Wow.
When it comes to those scenes, or is on par with it at the very least.
Still high praise.
The openness is still there. What I love about Rise of the Tomb Raider games, period, is the areas in the game. It's not open world, but it's open. It's sort of open ended in what you can do. The main path is still going to have you go down like a narrow path, and like that's a little regrettable. But every area you enter is going to have a lot of stuff for you to do. And with Rise of the Tomb Raider, they sort of expanded on it. There's all sorts of lore to uncover, and that existed in the reboot. But in this one, the lore is sort of like you have to find certain things to sort of increase Lara's proficiency at reading certain languages, and then you'll find like as you learn more languages, you can like decipher new objects in the world that you find.
Boring. She should just know all the languages.
Right? Hey, she doesn't know everything. She knows it well enough. Yeah, there's just like a lot of stuff to find in this game, and I love that about the original Tomb Raider. I liked it about this one. There's the more you find, like the more powerful you're going to become because you're going to level up. You're going to get more money to spend. There's a merchant in this game now. There wasn't a merchant in past games. There are more upgrades. There are new abilities to use. And like this game sort of freaked me out sometimes because some of the animals in it surprised the crap out of me. Like I'm just like exploring, trying to find something, and I'm completely oblivious to the music changing. And all of a sudden, oh hey, there's like a pack of wolves.
Are they as scary as the wolves in Resident Evil 4?
I don't know if anything's that scary.
No,
but
nothing's that scary.
The thing with these wolves is like they're not easy to like shoot in close quarters. When you're in close quarters with these wolves, they will just wreck you. And you can only like take a few hits before they'll kill you. So you have to like constantly be on top of healing yourself and just being aware of where they are. Otherwise, you're just going to be like running for your dear life. Hunting is a bigger part of this game. Crafting your weapons is a much bigger part of this game.
Every game now has to have crafting. You have to craft things.
Yeah.
Like, why can't the weapons just be there? Like, that's driving me nuts. Sometimes I don't want to craft things.
You have the weapons. It's just more about upgrading.
Everything's a freaking project now. I just want to play a game.
It's so you feel like you're working.
Even
towards
Xenoblade
something.
does that. It's driving me nuts. There's so many freaking things that like try on and just see like, oh, how does this affect my this stat? It's like it drives me nuts.
Hey, one of the great things is
rant's over.
Oh wait, I don't want to get off track here. And
we're already way off track.
Yeah, but so it keeps the open feel. I love that. The crafting adds like the way they expanded the crafting over the first game keeps it interesting. I mean, the first game does have some crafting and some upgrading to do. I think the highlight of the game for me is the lore entries or the audio logs that you can find. They existed in the reboot, but with Rise of the Tomb Raider, I feel like they just did a much better job of telling different stories as you play the game. And like some of these stories, especially when I got later in the game, were just like downright chilling. And that is what really sort of helped the game move along. And it's one of the biggest improvements over the previous game that exists. And it almost has sort of like you sort of mentioned BioShock to it.
Yeah.
When I told you about it.
Yeah,
and
it did sound a lot like BioShock.
Yeah, or it reminds me also of like Metroid, where like Metroid, the more you scan, the more you learn about like the story of the Chozo and wherever else.
So good, so good. I love storytelling like that. It's just my favorite. like optional storytelling. I think it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. The issue I had with Rise of the Tomb Raider is in the reboot, if you used your senses, I can't remember what senses she uses, but like if you use your senses, it's sort of revealed on your map any objects that you could find and discover. And in this one, it doesn't really work that way. You literally have to find everything. It doesn't. I mean, there's like a perk where you can see where tomb locations are without actually finding them. But as far as finding all the item locations, there's no perk for that. And that's probably one of my biggest complaints about it is that, if I get towards the end of a game and I want to 100% complete it, I want to know I want to have the option of just looking at the map and saying, okay, so like these are the things that I'm still missing. Let's just check them off. Like I like that as like a late game skill where you can sort of see everything. That doesn't exist in this game. And I really didn't like that. I'm actually sitting at like 99% completion right now. And the last thing I have to do is I have to do a couple challenges where I have to find, one of them I have to find like something that I have to shoot on the map. And there's like, I think it's like 8 or 10 of these things that I have to shoot. And I have no idea where all the things are. So it's just going to be me randomly wandering around finding these. And then there's another one where I don't really want to ruin it, but
wrap it up anyway, man. You've been on this forever.
I know.
This is like a 10-minute thing on Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Oh my goodness.
It really is.
It's a brand new game. Come on. People need to know about it.
But brand new games are all terrible. Remember?
It's not terrible.
No, it's not terrible.
It's a great game. It's just something's holding it back from taking that next step into
Could it be the fact that you played half the game with a broken Xbox One controller?
Oh my gosh. Can we not get into that?
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Because then it's going to take me even longer.
This is going to be an hour and a half episode.
So Rise of the Tomb Raider, you already know where I'm going with this. It's not a perfect game. It's not close to perfect. It's a 4 out of 5. It's better than the reboot in some ways. It's worse than the reboot in other ways. So it's a trade-off. I will say, game looks beautiful, like absolutely beautiful.
You still there?
Yes.
That was kind of funny. Okay.
I'm like, wait, what is going on here?
I don't know. You just kind of stopped talking. I might leave that in. So very good.
Awkward silence.
Yeah, no, I played 2 games this week myself, and the reason I was silent is because I was prepping for what I was going to say. I played a game called Zoombinis, which is a PC game, and I played a game called Human Resource Machine, which is on Steam, and it's also on Wii U. I played it on Wii U. Now, I was very excited to play both of these games, and neither of them turned out necessarily the way I had hoped. Now, the reason I'm not going to share any more with you, I'm not going to share any more information about these games. You have to go look up my opinions. Go to brashgames.co.uk and find these reviews. They should still be on the front page if you're listening to this, pretty recently. You can Google search Zoombinis review Brash Games or Human Resource Machine on brashgames.co.uk, and I am writing reviews for this website, and you can see some of my work over there. So and leave a comment, justify the fact that they're giving me free codes for games. So, and I should also, for those of you who are interested, those F-Zero fans out there, all one of you, I am doing a review of Fast Racing Neo, and that should be up. No promises by Sunday night, maybe. So we'll see. Unfortunately, I have an English person visiting me for like the next 3 weeks, so I'm not sure how much work I'm going to get done on that, but it should be done by Sunday.
Does it have multiplayer?
I don't even know. I haven't played it yet.
Oh.
We'll see. I have no idea.
That is a really cool-looking sort of F-Zero type game. It looks like F-Zero GX. It really does.
It does. So I'll try that out. I'm doing a review of that, and then after I do that, you can read that, and that should be either Sunday or Monday.
All right.
Yeah. So I played 2 games. I beat them both. I'm not going to tell you anything, not even the score.
Can you give us one word sentence? Or
yes.
Not one
I will
word.
give you
one sentence about each game, just like about what it's about.
Okay. Zoombinis is a puzzle game where you have to get from like point A to point B with all these like little Zoombinis characters.
Sounds like a mobile game.
Actually, it would not be out of place on mobile, and honestly, it's not bad. And I'm saying too much. Okay. And then Human Resource Machine is a game about coding that drove me freaking insane.
The best part about this is I know the review scores for these.
Yeah, you know them because you've read the reviews. But
Yes.
everyone else, go read the reviews. That's, again, brashgames.co.uk. You can also check out my other work on the ZBN. You can watch or you can listen to my podcast over at Groovy. I was in the Grim Fandango podcast over there. I do the Groovecast with them occasionally, so I'm still very active over there. So I'm becoming very popular on the internet. You can also follow me on Twitter at SpiegelWee. Piddle, what are you doing? You don't do anything. You just do this show.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
I'm not as popular as you. I wish I was.
So I wanted to talk about, and I think you're pretty popular. I think people prefer you to me because
Nonsense.
like most of the things that you say like aren't completely insane. A lot of the things I say are just stupid. Although people aren't fond of your opinion on mobile games, but
yeah, people really don't like my opinion on mobile.
Yeah.
But you know what? Just mobile has to just prove me wrong.
So I also wanted to talk today before we get into our top 5. We're counting down our top 50 games. We're already in the top 5, people. So I hope you're ready for this. But before I did that, I wanted to talk about Xenoblade Chronicles X because that's the game I'm playing right now. And I said this on Twitter, and I'm kind of going back on a little bit, but I said at the time that this might be the best game I've ever played.
Impossible.
It is impossible. I'm not even sure it's as good as Xenoblade Chronicles, the first one. But, like, this is the first game that has ever just completely blown me away. I can't even believe it when I'm playing it, like, all the stuff. It's so deep. Like, every little thing that you do can be customized, and, like, you can even change your living space that you never even go into. And you can... The game is... I think it might be the biggest game ever made in terms of size and scope, because I spent, like, literally an hour running across the overworld just to get to the next area, and there's 5 areas.
Oh, my goodness.
It is enormous.
Well, they did say, like, it's, like, 5 times as big as like Skyrim or something like that.
Yeah, I can't even, like, you can't even fathom that until you're actually in the world and you're like, oh my gosh, I see a mountain over there and it's going to take me forever to get there.
You're like, that's just part of the background. No.
Yeah, no, you can. It's like when they, you remember when they first revealed Zelda on Wii U, and Eiji Aonuma was like, you see that mountain over there? You might want to walk over there, and you can. It's exactly like that in this game, except that it's an incredibly dangerous journey to get to some of these places, and like you can tell where the game doesn't want you to go.
Perilous.
But you go there anyway. You can just go like and just run past all these level 50 monsters when you're just like a level 10, and some of them won't attack you, but some of them do. And I told you about this. There's this like big gigantic monster that just like walks across the field, and he's like level 92, and I'm just dreaming of the day when I'm going to be strong enough to take him down. Like his toe is bigger than you. Like that's how large it is. And I can't remember what it's called, but
it just sort of gives you that vibe of you're working towards something, and you are getting stronger as you progress through the game. And I think that's really important in those in RPGs, is that feeling of becoming more powerful.
And one thing I will say about the game is it is a grind. This is a grinding game that you really have to just keep at it. You are not going to be done in the first 50 hours. You're not going to be close to done in the first 50 hours. There's like 100 hours of story, and I've done so many side quests already. I'm going to be way over 100 by the time I finish this game. But I've enjoyed every single moment. There's not been a moment of this game where I've been like, this is boring and stupid and I don't want to play it. It is the perfect game for me. As someone who just was dying to get immersed in a world, this is a world you want to get lost in. Every location is gorgeous to look at. This is the best looking game on Wii U, and it's not close. It rivals games on other platforms. Like, one of the main things I've seen is like, I can't believe this game is running on Wii U. Well, believe it, because it is, and it looks incredible.
Yeah, that is one of the big things that Digital Foundry sort of said about Xenoblade Chronicles X, is that, I mean, those open world games on last generation consoles, like the 360 and the PlayStation 3, they were really impressive, and you sort of just ignored the fact that the frame rate sucked as you played them.
This
just
game
because
is
just
buttery
because it was
smooth.
like, it was like wait, this game has no business like existing. Like, there's no reason I should be able to do this in a game and explore a world this massive in a game. Like, so people just sort of like gave it a pass, sort of like Fallout 4 in this generation. But Xenoblade Chronicles X almost runs at a solid 30 frames per second almost the whole time.
It's totally smooth. I have not seen a frame rate drop.
And it looks better than those old games.
Yeah. And it's unbelievable that a game like Fallout 4 can come out this year and just be buggy and glitchy and essentially contain all of the same types of elements that Xenoblade Chronicles X has in terms of like character custom. I guess the one thing you would say about Fallout 4 that's different is that it's got like a bunch of moving pieces. This game doesn't really have moving pieces.
Fallout 4, the big thing with Fallout 4 is it keeps track of every individual item's location in the entire game.
But after playing Xenoblade Chronicles X, it comes across to me as like, isn't that kind of excessive? Because here Monolith Soft has made this game that is just like perfect. I have not run into a single problem. It is the biggest game ever made, and there's not a single problem in the world. In terms of, you know, glitchy, buggy issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to think maybe this is why Western RPGs just aren't as good as JRPGs. Western RPGs have elements like that are cool, but they're totally unnecessary for making a great game. Like, why did they need that? Why do they need to keep track of every single item? I'm really cool with Xenoblade's approach to it.
We're gonna go into this one. JRPGs versus Western RPGs.
I don't want to get too much into it. I just kind of wanted to bring that up. And I feel like this is the game that beat the Western RPG this year because as good as The Witcher is...
Hey, you haven't played it yet.
I haven't played it yet, but as good as like I've heard it is, and everything that I've seen about it that looks incredibly enjoyable, I think Xenoblade Chronicles X is going to be the superior experience when I've played both of them and all is said and done.
We'll see. You've played Xenoblade Chronicles X first. I played The Witcher 3 first.
That's just my prediction.
I almost feel like when I play Xenoblade Chronicles X, you need to play The Witcher 3.
I think that's what we should do. And, you know, it's not for nothing that this game has a higher Metacritic score than Fallout. So, anyway.
Haha.
That's all I had to say about that one. But if you're even the slightest bit intimidated by games like this, I would say hold off because, like I said, it may be the most perfect game for me right now, but it's not for everybody. And I could easily see someone just despising this game because it's just so vast and it's so complicated.
It just takes too long.
You have to get lost in this world in order to enjoy it, and I'm in that place right now where that's cool with me. A year ago, I might not have liked this game, so.
When you're really busy, games like that just can be such a drag.
Yeah, you can't do it, but it's the perfect time. It's really the perfect time for them to release a game like this because Fallout is sort of out of everybody's like immediate consciousness, and that was the last like big RPG, and now it's Nintendo's turn, and I think they might have beaten them all. So, the end. That's Xenoblade Chronicles X.
It's a shame it'll mostly fly under the radar.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? I feel like Nintendo fans have bought it in droves. I feel like people recognize the power of the Xenoblade. Like Xenoblade's going to be a franchise now because the two games have been successful, which is exciting. I think it's a really good franchise.
And it's something that Nintendo really needs.
Yeah, they do need a hardcore RPG, don't they? Because they really don't have one. Okay, but yeah, we need to move on. We need to get this episode done because I didn't expect we'd be going this long, but it is what it is.
Oh man, we have
maybe if
long.
Someone hadn't spent so much time on Rise of the Tomb Raider. But we're going to go ahead and do our top 5 games. We're counting them down. This week we're doing number 5 and number 4. And you guys are going to hate mine, but I think you'll like his.
The good thing is I don't have to spend much time on one of them. I'll probably spend more time on my number 4 than my number 5.
I'm the opposite, but go ahead with your number 5.
All right, my number 5 is Super Smash Brothers Melee. And you know,
wow.
This was lower on my list because it was a multiplayer only game. But I have to have it higher than I had it last year just because it's like the best multiplayer game that I've played. And the good news for me is that I still have a group of friends that likes to go back and play it semi-frequently. And those occasions have become fewer and farther between as we've all gotten older, but we still go back and we still play it, and it's still just it's a fantastic fighting game. And we've tried Brawl. We have not tried Super Smash Bros. 4. Brawl we couldn't stand. Melee just has it. It has that ability for you to start as a complete noob and get better and better and better at the game because there's so much for it to offer in terms of more advanced techniques like wave dashing. And I know a lot of people, I know a lot of fans hate that about the game.
You can keep your wave dashing. I'm just going to take my casual experience and just GTFO out of here.
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't like that, but that's the reason that we're playing the game, 15 years later? I mean, it came out, December...
2001.
December 2001. Almost like a full, 15 years ago from now.
Good math.
Or was it 14? I can't even remember. Can't even remember the game.
Well, let's see. We're in 2015, and it was 2001.
2001, so 14 years, yeah. So...
Boy.
It's
I
just...
I feel like I've been really saucy at you today. I'm sorry.
You should be.
Yeah.
You should be. All I'm trying to do is gush over Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that? That's the sound of my eyes rolling.
Don't hear it.
Both of my eyes are rolling in my head.
It's a great game. I don't care what you had
It's a good game.
say.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's pretty good.
It's the best Smash has
It's
ever
not
had.
bad.
Best Smash has ever had. In terms of continued depth, I feel it's the best that the series has offered. Maybe Smash 4 will be different. My group and I have been talking about diving in and getting Smash Brothers 4, all of us, and trying it out because we don't live in the same town anymore. We're a little bit more spread out. We're still in the same state. It just, I don't know. I think we just hold too strongly to Melee, especially after the disappointment that Brawl was for us.
I think that's the problem that most people go through when picking up Smash 4, and I feel like it's almost immediately alleviated. They did so much in Smash 4 that was more faithful to the Melee base than the Brawl base. Obviously, the items are just out of control now. I've never wanted to turn off items before, but there's certain items in this game that I can't deal with that. But at the same time, I feel like they tuned up the mechanics of the game more to the tightness of Melee than the floaty kind of looseness of Brawl. So there you go. And also, just to clarify, the reason I don't like Melee is because people get such a I'm careful. They get so excited when talking about Melee as compared to these other Smash games, and it's just those games are irrelevant compared to Melee. It's just you guys don't ever try anything new, do you? Or leave your parents' basement. And it's just
we did. We did. We were burned once with Brawl.
Get burned again.
That's just why we don't want to go. We don't want to take that chance again because Brawl just completely. It really soured us on the entire series. And
yeah, but
Nintendo made a gigantic mistake with releasing Brawl. I feel like
I'm just sick of esports, and I'm sick of elitists, and I'm an elitist. I hate elitists, all of them. So I'm gonna go with my number 5, which you're gonna hate, and I don't have much to say about it. It's
like Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Yes, it's Super Smash Bros. Brawl. No, it's actually Pikmin 2 on the Nintendo GameCube, and some of you might be saying what?
Why would I hate that?
Huh?
Why would I hate that choice?
Because it's kind of an oddball choice to have in someone's top 5. But this game for me, when I was growing up, it was the thing. I was obsessed with it, and I still really love just putting it in and playing Pikmin. It's a really good real-time strategy game. It's Nintendo really got the formula right. I feel like Pikmin 3 was a step back. I still love Pikmin 3, but they didn't have the fine-tuning that Pikmin 2 had. I loved collecting all the treasures. I loved seeing the ship's description of every treasure. It was always really funny. And I liked, at the end of the game when you beat it, you unlock all these additional dialogues that your co-captain Louis writes about how to properly cook all the different beasts that you collect on the Pikmin planet. And it's really funny. It's got a great heart, It's a really fun game. It's fun to challenge yourself and see if you can beat your old records. Like I have a record that's still standing from when I was like 12 years old playing the game. I beat it in like I completed it in I think 15 days, and I still can't do better than that today. I don't know how I did it back then. Um, I've tried. I get to like 17, but yeah, I was really good at that game when I was 12. I'm not so good at it anymore, but it's an amazing game. I highly recommend it. You can get it on Wii too.
Yeah, I
They have
actually
like
have it on Wii, but I have
you
not.
do.
I haven't really gotten into it yet.
I'd give it a shot. From what I understand, the Wii controls are actually really good. I've never played it on Wii, but because I have the GameCube version. But I love Pikmin 2. It's one of those inexcusable. Look, I just like this game, so let me have it in my top 5.
Hey,
And
nothing wrong with liking Pikmin. It's a
yeah.
good series.
And I think it's gonna move back next year. I think I overrated it because I started playing it again this year, and I was like, "This is good." Is it top 5? Probably not. But I had already made my list at that point, so I don't know. Maybe it just hit me at the wrong time or something. But I'll play it again next year, and I'll reevaluate its position on the list. But for now, number 5 for me.
All right, number 4. For me, my
Number
number
4.
4 is, and this is my highest platformer, Sonic 3 and Knuckles.
You hear that? That's the sound of my eyes rolling.
Oh, come on. Come on. It's a great game. Have you played
Better
it?
than Super Mario World? Are you kidding me?
Yes, better than Super Mario World. Gonna say it straight up. It's better than Super Mario World.
It's not even better than New Super Mario Brothers 2.
Oh my goodness.
Slam!
Wow.
Welcome to the
Wow.
jam.
That is just blatantly wrong. My
Yeah,
goodness.
There's objective.
Have you even played it?
There's objectivity and there's subjectivity. That game is objectively better than New Super Mario Brothers 2. It's not even close.
It is. So, what makes Sonic 3 and Knuckles so high up on my list and my number 1 platformer, even over like Super Mario World and Super Mario Brothers 3, is and I talked about this before, is pretty much most of my top 10 has this common theme, and that is exploration. And Sonic 3 and Knuckles gives that to you. The levels have so many different branching paths. It is hard to wrap my mind around even today, like how the creators were able to design the levels to have so many branching paths and have such a fantastic vertical element to the games. There is not a single Mario game out there that has the vertical element that Sonic 3 and Knuckles has. Just period, flat out fact.
What about
There's
Super
not
Mario
a single
Maker?
other Mario game that has that vertical element. And that is what elevates Sonic 3 and Knuckles, to me, over all the Mario games. It is having that vertical element, having all these branching paths, and generally, like, the higher you get in the levels, the more cool stuff you're going to find. Like, you're going to find secret ring caches. You're going to find the hidden super rings that you can jump through for the special levels.
I'm pretty sure there's like a diabolical hidden message in there somewhere, like, "Hey kids, get high, you'll find secrets."
You know what?
Terrible.
Maybe there's the Mushroom Hill
Frickin'
Zone.
Sega. Wow, the Mushroom Hill Zone.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
Yep. Great level. And that's the other thing about Sonic 3 and Knuckles that I love is all the levels have a certain vibe to them. Like you have the obligatory casino level like Sonic 2 had. You have where you can just like rake in a ton of coins. I think I've gotten up to like 600, 700 coins in those gambling levels of Sonic 3. You have the Mushroom Hill Zone where you're jumping on mushroom caps the entire time, which I really like that part. You have the Standopolis Zone where, especially Zone 2 is awesome because Zone 2 has these ghosts that you're trying to keep away, and the lights in the level progressively get worse or like dimmer and dimmer and dimmer, and when it's completely dark, the ghosts can actually attack you and kill you. So you're constantly trying to find these like little switches that you can jump onto and grab that'll turn the lights back on.
Man, what happened to you, Sega?
What
happened?
Yeah, it's amazing. Like you have a level where like the gravity gets turned like upside down pretty frequently, so you can be like on the ground or you can be running along the ceiling. I don't know. There's just so much variety to these levels. The power ups are simple, where you just have like the magnetic one where you can pull in rings, or you can do a double jump with it. You have the fireball one, which like makes you immune to any fire. You have the bubble one, which allows you to breathe underwater infinitely. And those just, it has these great levels. It has these awesome vertical aspects to these levels. The special levels, I know a lot of people didn't like them as much as the Sonic 2 levels, but honestly, I think more people just played Sonic 2 because Sonic 2 had far greater sales than Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, which is unfortunate because Sonic 3 and Knuckles is the better game. Sonic 2 does not have quite the same vertical element, and finding the special rings, which are hidden behind walls or like hidden walls or wherever else, you need to find them because the special levels are hard. Especially the later ones are really, really challenging. So like you need to continue to explore. You need to continue to keep searching so that you can find all the super rings, so that you can collect all the Chaos Emeralds, so that you can become Super Sonic, and then later in Sonic and Knuckles become Hyper Sonic. And it all culminates in, I think, is one of the most epic battles in gaming history when you do the Doomsday Zone in Sonic and Knuckles, the very final level, and you are flying through space. You're trying to collect rings. You're trying to avoid asteroids or meteors. You're trying to avoid missiles that are getting shot at you and take down Robotnik. It's just such a fantastic way to culminate that game. I don't know. Oh, and it also has great music. Just fantastic music. So that's my number 4.
All right. And then we will do mine, which is going to be very quick. I talked about it just a couple of weeks ago when I was playing through it, but man, my top 5 is going to be so anticlimactic. I feel like every time I mention one of these games, I'm like, oh, this is one of the best games of all time. But my number 4 is The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time 3D on 3DS.
Oh, fantastic choice.
So much more improved than from the N64 version. Also contains Master Quest. Also contains a mode where you can go back and fight those boss battles if you want to. Just so perfect. Ocarina of Time is a game that just released at just the right time in video game history to like become a classic and remain a classic. And now I feel like it's almost underrated. And it's a shame. And you know what? Ocarina of Time is a great game, and if you don't like it, then there's something wrong with you. I'm sorry. That's all I have to say about it. There's just something wrong with you.
It is. Well, I love it.
Yeah. Well, there's
You
something
love
wrong
it.
with you. Sometimes.
It's a great game.
I mean, look,
I think,
like I don't even need to explain it. It's just like here's all these fantastic worlds with all these different like vibrant characters. And you know, it's just really fun to just explore. It's like Babby's first adventure game. It's fantastic. Like
one of the things
like
I love
played
about
this.
Ocarina
Sorry,
of Time now.
go ahead.
Sorry, one of the things I love about it now is that all these other games are getting so open that I feel like they lack direction. And Ocarina of Time is open, yet it still has a direction to it. I feel
Yeah, like you can do side quests and still feel like you're progressing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it does it. The world is like in this world of massive world, in this in this industry where everything has to be massive and like Ocarina of Time does a fantastic job of scaling it down to this little field where everything you need to get to is just kind of there, and then you go there and then you do stuff. And it not everything needs to feel like this big long adventure where there's a billion little things to do along the way. And you're right, it does have a great direction, and it maintains that throughout the entire game. And while it does have kind of a slow start, that's a Zelda game. They kind of have slow starts.
Yeah, exactly.
Although I will say you are in that first dungeon in like 10 minutes or less, or your money back.
Love it.
So anyway,
The only annoying thing about Ocarina of Time now for me is that whole beginning intro with Navi and not being able to skip text. Oh man, that is one outdated game design thing that I am so glad we've sort of moved on from. Is slow text that is unskippable. I
Hear
cannot
my
stand
words.
slow text that you can't skip.
The words of the Deku Tree. Dost thou fear it with the thank you for listening to Effortless.
Ellipses, ellipses, ellipses.
Keep pressing A.
Yeah, you're
Jeez.
spamming A. And man, that made the owl conversations just utterly deplorable.
You know what?
At times.
Everyone complains about the owl with like the how it like it sets it to the one that you want to pick, and then you like go to the other one and you hear it again. I think it's kind of funny. I like Nintendo when they troll you.
Oh man.
Anyway, yeah. So thanks for thank thou for listening to Effortless. If you like the show, I don't even care. Just do whatever you want. I'm Spiegel. He's Piddle. Don't forget to like
Do
talk
whatever
about
you
your
want.
favorite.
We don't even care anymore.
I really
this
don't
is Effortless.
care. Yeah. So leave your comment about your fast food or whatever, and we'll see you next week. Number 3, number 2. Next week, we'll have a special Christmas episode probably, where we talk about video games.
And then after number 3 and number 2, it's number 1.
Did you know that number 1 came after number 2? I thought we were gonna do it like for. Never mind. All right, that's it.
I wanna rock with Jay. Tuesday. It's gonna be the rain.